All right. Good evening, everybody. I hope that you've had a great day so far. It has been beautiful today. It's a little bit cool outside, but that's okay too. I actually like it this way. Enough weather, just cool enough to wear a little jacket and to be outside messing around. A couple of folks are still putting up Christmas decorations, so today was a really nice day to get out and do that if you haven't already. So I hope that if you were putting up some, that you were blessed enough to get them up before it got dark and before it started getting colder, because we all know that as soon as the sun sets, it gets really cold outside. Now, to everybody else in Arkansas who thinks that this is probably cold weather, and I'm being one of them because I get cold really easily. Okay, I don't need to get any colder than this. And we're not going to say the S word because we definitely don't want it unless we get it Christmas Eve. And then we need to melt Christmas Day. So we get the S word. We only want to have it for one day, and that's just so it makes for beautiful pictures, at least for that one night anyway. So hopefully we'll stay clear of that, and the weather will stay nice, and everybody can get out and enjoy it. Be careful, still. We are still in the midst of a pandemic, so make sure that if you are getting out, let me say that, you are wearing your mask, you are washing your hands immediately, that you are keeping your distance. You know, Arkansas numbers are steadily increasing, and we're getting things just getting worse. So we have to be really careful. Just like we said around Thanksgiving, it's really hard this time of year, especially during the holidays, that we can't gather like we used to. We can't get together and be around family and friends. And I know that that's difficult, but the alternative is probably a little bit worse than that. So make sure that we're keeping our distance. And even if you do have company or family over, we'll do like what my boss does at the office. We'll have a can of Lysol, and every couple of minutes, we're going to make a round through the house and spray and wipe everything down and make sure that people are still washing your hands. And even if you are, around family members and you think nobody's sick or anybody's, they're not showing any symptoms, still be really careful. A lot of people are asymptomatic, meaning they don't show any symptoms of COVID, but then later on are being diagnosed or being tested, and they're testing positive. So be sure that if you are having company over during the holiday season, or if you are insisting on going out, because I'm telling y'all now, I've Christmas shopped from the comfort of this chair. I have enjoyed having that little knock on my door. And I still say that Amazon people are ninjas, because they can knock on the door and leave your package, take a picture of it, and be down the street before you ever get to the door to even see them come. So they're either ninjas or they're actually Christmas elves. Let's go with that one. They're Christmas elves. So, but make sure, if there's a way for you to shop or to do whatever you need to do without having to get out and be around a lot of people and be caught up in the crowds, that you take advantage of that. So, like I said, I've enjoyed hearing my little knock on the door, because I know there's a gift outside the door, and I'm like a little kid. Even though they're not for me, I'm excited about getting them. But do the things that's going to keep you safe, keep you happy, take care of your family, make sure that you are doing all those things right. Now, housekeeping stuff. If you haven't already, go over to our YouTube channel, and it's the Ladies Lounge Wonder Lowe on YouTube. Subscribe and make sure you hit the little bell, so that way every week when I post a new video, you can go over and know when it's on, or know when I'm on to actually watch the show live. You can also go to our Facebook page, which is the same name, the Ladies Lounge Wonder Lowe, and like the page. And by the way, I know this is going to seem like the smallest thing to some of you high-tech social media gurus out there, but I hit 400 page likes the other day, and I celebrated as though it was 1,000. So thank you to whoever those couple of folks were that went over and got me to 400. I appreciate that. But I can build it and get some more. So if you haven't liked the page already, please go over and do that. Also, any of the old videos that you want to watch from any of the previous shows, everything is on my page. Go in, watch those videos. Facebook does help us out a little bit on the creativity side if we get more views on our videos and get more shares on our posts. I will start posting more. I promise that every time, but life happens and things happen and I get busy, and honestly, I just forget about it. But I will start posting more and start sharing other content, because I want to make sure that when people come to my page, that they see more than just videos that I've done, that they see videos of my guests. If you have events going on and it's something that you want me to promote on my page, be sure that you send me an email. I'll be happy to do that, or just share it to the page or share it to me, and I'll make sure that it gets on the page. But make sure that you go on YouTube, click the bell so that you get your notifications, and then make sure you like us on the Facebook page. Now, what else? Without getting too deeply into politics, y'all know what's going on. I saw a video on TikTok the other day that said it all. And the guy was making this call to the person that shall remain nameless, who won't leave the White House. And he was explaining to him how it's time for him to go. Because Joe and Aunt Kamala need the White House, and he needs to go. So, let's pray that all of this is resolved in the courts as it should be. We don't want to get to a place where we go, oh, we know that there was a voter fraud or whatever it was. And true enough, we may think that it was not. But if there are enough people that think it is, and then they investigate, let's just let the investigation take place. Do what has to be done. We already know who won. And January 20th, let's do what we have to do. Move out the old, bring in the new, and be done with it. But make sure that we are just still staying prayerful for our nation and for our leaders, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, we still got to live here. We still got to get along. And we still have to try to make this world a better place. So that is all of my soapbox for tonight. I don't have a big one, but that was it. So without further ado, I want to introduce, and I'm not even going to introduce her because she's been here before, and you all have read her story and probably been reading her story for the last 26 years. My guest tonight is Miss Laurell Hall. Now, Miss Hall is from Pine Bluff, and some of you may know, and if you don't, we're going to inform you a lot tonight. Miss Hall's daughter, Cleashindra, came up missing May 9th of 1994. And for the past 26 years, Miss Hall and her family, let me not say just Miss Hall and her family and friends have not stopped looking for Cleashindra. And I will be honest, when this first happened, I can remember seeing this on the news for a little while and hoping and praying that something would come up, that they would find her. But it's been 26 years and we're still looking. So tonight, Ms. Hall is going to share the journey of a mother and a journey of an advocate, because she's advocating for her child and she's advocating for our children as well, especially for missing children. We're going to hear her story of how she's still searching for Clea, and then she's going to tell us how we can help, because there's always something that we can do and there's always a way that we can contribute. So Ms. Hall, I appreciate you taking time tonight to come back on the show and talk to us. And I'm going to honestly just turn it over to you and let you go however you want to go.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me on the show, because every opportunity that I can get to let people know that Clea is missing, I try to take advantage of that. And I really appreciate it, because people don't have to do that. You didn't have to let me come on. And I just want you to know that me and my family appreciate you opening up your studio to let us or let me come and talk about Clea.
Yes, ma'am. Anytime.
Clea disappeared from her after school job on May 9th, 1994. And for the past 26 years, we have been searching for a clue, for one answer. And so far, we haven't gotten a clue. And I know that there's somebody out there that is holding that information. And so I'm not a public speaker. And so I've had to really come out of my comfort zone in order to let people know that my daughter is missing. And if I am not pushing to make people still be aware, then her story would probably be like her case file is at the police department and just be covered with dust. Mm-hmm. But because we're still searching, and we're going to search until we take our last breath, but we're still searching to find out what happened to her. And so I have to utilize avenues such as this to come forth and have people. I know there's somebody out there. There may be somebody watching tonight that knows something. You don't know that you really know something that's valuable to our story. Or maybe you know what happened and you just haven't come forward all this time. And maybe tonight is the night that the guilt has carried you so long that, you want to end it tonight and tell us what happened to Clea. I did an interview last night on Fox 16, and I'm not so concerned with the prosecution of somebody as I am with finding out where my daughter is.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main concern. That's our family's main concern in finding out where
Uh-oh. Had a little bit of technical difficulty there.
my
There you
8 year
go.
old granddaughter said today that because she watched the interview and she said, um, Grammy, has my brother ever seen Aunt Clea? And I said, no, he's only 14 and she's been missing 26 years and he hasn't seen her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, do you think that she'll be back by the time I'm 23? I said, I don't know, but I sure hope so.
Mm-hmm.
And last night she said, are you upset because you're upset because Auntie Clea is saying nobody will help you find her?
Oh,
So
Jess.
she at 8 just has those kind of conversations with me
Mm-hmm.
often about where her Auntie Clea. She's like, and she said today, she's missing. And I said, yeah. And we don't know where she is. And I said, no. She said, we got a lifetime dilemma. This
Wow.
8 year old. I'm like, what do you do about a lifetime dilemma? So um, they are they are concerned about where their Aunt Clea is as well.
Mm-hmm.
So um, here we
That's
are.
huge for an 8-year-old to think like that.
Well, she acts like she's older than 8, but we have that kind of conversation
Mm-hmm.
when we do balloon releases. She's asking questions about where's Auntie Clea and who's going to help us give her that answer.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you're breaking up just a
So
little bit. Okay. Can't hear you at all right now. Okay. While she's getting that together, y'all, there is a video from the show that she was on the other night, the Fox 16 channel that did the interview. And there's also another one. And I thought I was going to have a chance to pull that video clip, but I didn't. But make sure that you go, and even if you just did a search online and just Googled Cleashindra Hall, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, there's a lot that you can learn from just the case from reading just some of the stuff that's online. They don't have a lot of clues. They don't have a lot of people coming forward with information. And think about it like this: for 26 years, you just don't know what happened. You don't know where she is. You don't know if she's been hurt. You don't know what is going on. And think about how that must feel as a parent to be searching that long and to not have any answers. Like she said, with the police reports, so as far as I know, and what we've talked about in the past, is it's pretty much a cold case. They are looking for new leads. They are looking for new information. So if somebody is watching tonight and you've even heard somebody mention this in passing, or somebody just say, have an idea of what they think may have happened, if at all possible. Hold on just a second. She's getting back in. Okay, now got your neck.
okay.
um, yeah, um, make sure you try to pass the information on so that we can help find out what happened with Clish. I was just talking until you get back.
Okay. One of the things that we're doing right now is trying to refurbish our bus bench.
Hmm.
We had a bench that was um, in town at the corner of East Harding and Ohio.
Hmm.
And over time, the sun has faded the information on the bench. And so right now, we are working, trying to get a new bench. And people are always asking, what can we do to help? That's how you can help. Um, because I would like to get more than not just that one. I would like to put one in our area. The bench is on the other side of town from where we are. It was donated so I took the bench. But I would like to have one in our area near where we live so that people in our area can come forward and um, say or see the bench, and maybe it'll bring something to their remembrance.
Hmm. Now, is there a way for somebody to donate if they want to donate? Do you have a cash app? Do you have something set up to take donations?
They can cash out me at um, Grammy, GRAMMAE, the number one,
Say it one more time for me.
GRAMMAE, the number one.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
if they would like to donate to our uh, bus bench, um, I don't know what you call it, uh, our bus bench drive for, I'm just blank right now.
Hmm.
They can do it that way. And my goal was to get it done before Christmas, but if it's not by Christmas, then by the first of the year.
Okay. What I was doing was posting that in the comments for the show. So, and I want to make sure I got that right. It's GRAMMAE number one.
Yes,
Oh, okay. That way, if somebody wants to donate, they can. They have that information.
yes.
All righty. So I got that posted for you. Okay. Now talk a little bit because there's going to be somebody that's going to be watching the show that probably doesn't know what the beginning of the story is. So I know it's kind of hard for you to go back and have to recount it every time, but if you don't mind, just kind of tell us about the beginning of what happened and how we got 26 years later.
Okay. On May 9th, 1994, the day started off just like any other day. The kids got dressed, got breakfast, got ready for school, and I dropped them off. Clea was a senior at the time, and she got out of school early because it was close to the end of school. And I picked her up at 2:30, and I took her to her after school job, which was about a mile from our house. And when we got there, nobody was there. So we came home. She laid down on the couch, went to sleep. And then about 4:45, her boss's wife called and said, "I'm at home." And so um, Clea got up off the couch, wiped the sleep out of her eye, and then went to get in the car. And I dropped her off, and I watched her walk in, and that was the last time that I saw her. And when I watched her walk in, I didn't think that would be the last time that I would see her. And so, over the last 26 years, we have been trying to find out what happened to her, because um, we haven't had a clue. The police haven't solved the case. Um, I think they're still working on it. I, I think, although I know our case is cold because nobody has come forward with any information. And
Hmm.
so they don't have anything to work because they don't have any information. And so 26 years later, here we are still asking, um, where is Cleashindra Hall?
Hmm. Now, can we talk about some of the investigative things that were done? Because we know, I know a little bit about where she worked, and I know that you said that was the last time you saw her. And there was, if you read any of the stuff online, it tells you a little bit about, them investigating and checking everything. But was there anything that ever make you think that maybe something happened at the house? That something happened at her place of work?
Well, I don't know what happened because I've never been in the house, although I've asked a couple of times to be able to come in. And when we've asked, the boss would say he has a number, and he would call us and leave a message on the phone, especially if it was on a Wednesday when we were gone. And he would leave a message on the answering machine and say, "I'm at home, y'all can come over." On one occasion, we had a psychic lady came from Little Rock. Her name is Clea, Carol Pate. I don't know if you've heard of her. And
Hmm.
she came down and he saw her car in our yard. I didn't even know that her license plate had ESPN1 or ESP1 on her license plate. And so when I called him and asked if we could come over, and he's like, "Who wants to come?" And I said, "Well, me, my husband, Clea's aunts. We want to see the office where she, worked." And he
Hmm.
said, "Well, I've got a meeting to go to." And then he said, "And anyway, I don't want to be bothered by any psychics." And
Wow.
so we didn't get to go in on that occasion. The police did a search. Clea disappeared on Monday, so they went to the house on Friday and did a search. And um, I was a little bit disturbed by it because I'm thinking y'all went over and searched, although I'm sure job, but they didn't really do a search. What they did was looked into the wife let them look into the office. And so they pushed a redial on the
Hmm.
office phone. And I'm thinking, now this is almost a week. Surely the
Hmm.
last number that Clea might have dialed wouldn't be still on the office phone.
Exactly.
But and then also they went in searching and um, I'm like, well, I don't know what they were looking for because the weekend before was prom and then the Arcanet ball, and back then it was those press on nails. They didn't have those nail shops, and so she had these press on nails. And so if some of those nails were just broken in the
Hmm.
house, I'm just saying in a struggle, and those nails were laying around. Would they know to look for those? Also, Clear had put some hair extension on the back of her hair, and
Hmm.
his wife had short hair. So if there were long strands of hair, would that have even uh, drawn their attention? And so the investigation just seemed kind of willy nilly.
Hmm.
I don't know if there was necessarily any rhyme or reason for some of the things that they did at the beginning, which brings us to this point where 26 years later we don't have Clea, and then we don't have a suspect.
Hmm. That is
So
that's some interesting stuff because I wouldn't, that's not stuff that a normal person would think about. Hair extensions and yeah. So that would be interesting. Um, I know that you talked about in the past when some of the evidence was collected by the police and things that happened that were kind of, I guess the best way to say would be odd that just happened. And I think that, do you think that those things may have had something to do with how long it's taking to come up with any good leads, or uh, does that affect anything? How has that affected the case?
well, in 2012 they finally got a search warrant to search his home,
Hmm.
and he had or was overheard telling one of the detectives, "Y'all should have did this 18 years ago." This was in 2012, and then he said, I've had 9 renovations done to this house, or 9 different things. I guess I don't know if he was telling them to impress them or
Hmm.
why he was saying that to them. And so when they did a search that day, they had the ground radar surface machine, and they also had some cadaver dogs out
Hmm.
there, and so the machine, according to them, didn't have enough ground disturbance for them to do any digging. And the dog, I think, maybe hit on something in the house. I'm not even sure because we stood outside and we were out there like from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening.
Wow.
And close to 5 o'clock, I guess they decided that they were going to take some samples or something. And so they made everybody move back at least a block. And so they came out with the bags of evidence and they were put in the trunk of one of the detectives' cars. After, so as time went by in calling, have y'all heard anything from the evidence? Because we didn't have anything up until that point. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking, have y'all anything, come up with the evidence. And so the chief at that time, which was a lady, she said, no, we don't have any evidence. And so I went to a city council meeting at 30 days because the city council um, was or is the boss of the police department at that time.
Mhm.
And so I went to a city council meeting. So after the meeting was over, I asked her, you know, where are you with the evidence? And she said, we don't have any news. And every Wednesday, we call because we have a standing appointment with
Mhm.
the crime lab. And so uh, the next day, a reporter contacted the crime lab. And the crime lab said, we don't have any evidence on Cleashindra Hall.
Hmm.
So when after the crime lab called and they started investigating what happened, the evidence got supposedly the crime scene person was too afraid to bring the evidence out because there was such a large crowd. Now, I don't know of any crime scene that doesn't have a crowd.
Yeah.
So she gave the bags of evidence to a detective. He put them in the trunk of his car, and I think he got a call from his wife, and he went home, and he put I guess his police gear in the trunk in the garage, and closed the garage up for the weekend. And then on
Mhm.
Monday, when he retrieved, he realized those bags were in the trunk of his car, and he took them to the evidence locker. Now, I don't know, 'cause typically evidence is logged and tagged and all of that, but he took it to the evidence locker and somehow got, there was 40 days.
Wow.
And then when we inquired about it, that's when the evidence went to the crime lab. And so
Uh-huh.
I kept asking and asking after then. And so, of course, we were told that there was that they nothing that was relevant to solving her case. And I don't know if they told us that or you know we we the general public typically has to go by what the police say because I mean
Exactly.
they're the law and you know we watch too much television, as they've told me often. When they can solve a case in an hour on television, but they can't.
Mhm.
Look, we don't have some of that same tech. I know we don't have the CSI technology, but don't we have some of
Exactly.
the same technology, or isn't the last person to see that you know of to see somebody usually where you start?
You would think it would be, you know. And I'm like you, even though, yeah, maybe it doesn't happen in getting solved in an hour on television, but again, like you said, don't we have some of that same technology? Would you not look at the last place she was, or the last people she was around, or the last person to see her, before she came up missing? So yeah, I think that makes sense to anybody. That would make
Right.
sense to anybody.
So it's just um, it's the whole thing has just been mind-boggling. And I tell you, if it was not for the grace of God,
Hmm.
we would we would be. I know I would be somewhere crazy, sitting up, probably not knowing where. Over the years, I have uh, been in contact with mothers of missing children who can't function from one day
Hmm.
to the next.
Hmm.
And so I thank God for the strength that He has given me and my family to be able to continue the search. Because if we don't look for her, who's gonna look?
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why when I saw your post about the bench, I was like, let me get in contact with you to have you come back on. I'm glad that you've been able to do those other shows. I saw the YouTube video you sent me. And I'm glad that you're getting more people are coming back around now because it's so many years you went without hearing about it. And, you hear about certain cases and then you don't hear about other cases. And his case has been one of those things that ever since I can remember when it first happened, as a kid, that it's always been of interest to me. So I was glad to have you back on just to talk about it a little bit.
Right.
Hopefully, and prayerfully, one of the things that we always go for in a situation like this is that somebody is watching, that somebody hears the video, that somebody sees the Fox 16 news channel, they see the other stories that you've done recently, and it piques their curiosity again. That maybe somebody remembers seeing something that day, or hearing somebody say something that might not have been, exactly straight that day. Because sometimes our memories are jogged by either things that we've seen, or things that we've heard, or if somebody just mentions it again, you know, no detail is too small. I'll put it like that. No detail is too small. So anything that anybody saw that day, I hope that they'll, report it and say something, because I can't imagine. I have 4 kids, and I could never imagine dealing with missing, losing one of them, and not knowing where they were for 26 years. That's a pressure that I don't think many people could hold up under.
You know the story in the Bible of the lady that lost the coin and she swept the house until she found
Mm-hmm.
that missing coin. And for us, and a coin is that thing of value. And so having our only daughter missing is that thing of value that is missing from our family. And her three brothers, and the fact that she's our only daughter. Um, all of all of our kids are valuable. My grandchildren are valuable to me, and so I'm not going to stop sweeping until I can find where that missing coin is.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I was telling somebody yesterday, I usually I have on a pink shirt, but I don't have on one tonight. But um, I wear a pin, or sometimes I wear the pink T-shirt with a picture on it. And a lady in the grocery store asked me a few years ago, "Is that girl still missing?" I remember that story,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "Yeah, she's still missing. She hasn't been found." And just like we've been trying to keep it out there that she's missing, when she comes back and the prodigal son returns, we're gonna have a feast, and we're gonna let people know that she's been found the
Yes.
same way. And so um, I'm glad that again, I appreciate this opportunity because people do have an out of sight, out of mind
Mm-hmm.
kind of mentality. And so just because she is missing, they're thinking, oh, well, maybe she's found, or, one of my church members years ago said, you must know something about what happened because you're not upset enough. I'm like, how upset do I have to be
Wow.
for you to believe that I'm concerned about where my missing one daughter is? How
Mm-hmm.
how could how upset do I have to be? I can't roll around in the floor and I can't talk where you can't understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to tell you we need
Mm-hmm.
help in finding our daughter. And so we've had just some strange things over the years. And I have been working on a book for 26 years, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that by 2021 I will be finished. But I was hoping that I could have an ending that
Yeah.
we could put that Clea had been found. So I am again just still searching, still a mom that's searching. And and my heart goes out to other mothers of missing children, because it's like there's clubs for everything, and this is a club that I wouldn't necessarily want to be a member of, but
Yeah.
just by the grace of God I am. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just my heart just goes out to some of those, and especially like at the holidays is difficult when family gathers. And it usually starts about Thanksgiving, that we start thinking about, we have a empty chair at the table where she may have sat, or we used to put presents under the tree for her. We stopped we stopped doing that, and then I gave those gifts away.
Hmm.
And so, it's just the holiday time when family gathers, and with COVID, families aren't going to be gathering like they usually do this year, but they can feel the separation of not being with their family members. And
Hmm.
maybe they can imagine what we have felt for the past 26 years.
And I think a lot of people at some point, like you said, the church member that made the comment, I think after so long, people don't know how to think and they don't know what to say. And she probably didn't. Well, I can't speak for her what she probably meant, but people don't know what to say after so long. And I'm like you, what are you expected to do? You have to keep your sanity about yourself because you have to find your daughter, and you have to stay calm so that you can search. And I think a lot of times people want you to be crazy, running around in the street screaming and yelling, and it's a time and a place for that. But this is not that time nor that place because right now it's more important that everybody keep a calm head and keep looking and keep going over what happened so you can figure out where she is rather than being upset. And I applaud you and I applaud any mother or any family, that don't you just haven't given up. And I think that's the big thing is that people don't understand real strength sometimes. And when they look at you and you put together and you carrying yourself in a certain way, but you still looking and you still determined, a lot of people don't understand how to take that. So, people expect you to be falling apart again and being hysterical, but you know what's important and you know what you have to do in order to keep your baby. So I applaud you for that because, like I said, you all have dealt with um, a trauma that most people couldn't stand up under. Not 26 years, not that long. And just like you and everybody else that's watching or listening tonight, everybody wants to know where she is and if there's a way for her to come home, for her to come home. So you have the prayers and the efforts of any and everybody, any of us who can do anything to help you with that. Do you have any events or anything coming up that you're going to be doing here over the next couple of weeks or anything you want to talk about?
We don't have any thing going on. Like I said, I'm working on the bench, and probably this weekend I'm going to go to the bench and do a live because I think maybe people can get a better realization if they see it.
Hmm.
Um, see the condition that it's in,
Hmm.
and we don't have anything that's publicly going on. But I decided this year that my grandchildren and I are going to put together a gingerbread house, and then we're going to spend the evening talking about Auntie Clea.
Wow. Well, I think the
So
8-year-old is probably going to lead the conversation.
I'm sure I'm sure she will
Hmm.
because she has a lot to say.
Hmm.
I have, and it's funny. I have three sons, and I had the one daughter, and now I have three granddaughters, and I have one grandson. It's just the opposite,
Wow.
and he really gets emotional at the thought of her because at one point he wouldn't even come to our house
Oh, wow.
because he said he didn't want to come over there, and she wasn't there.
Hmm.
So,
Well, I think you will have plenty to write in your book because this has affected all of you all. And those are the nieces and nephews that hadn't even met her. So this has deeply affected everybody in your family that she's missing like that. Okay.
yeah, 'cause they've never seen her.
Hmm.
Never. All they know are the pictures and the balloon releases that we do. That's,
Hmm.
that's all that they know.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to know or you want to add? I'm not going to hold everybody long tonight. We don't have a long show, but I want to make sure we got you on and just gave you enough time to talk a little bit. But if is there anything else that you want to add or you want to tell us that we can be looking out for or any information that you want to ask for, anything that you want to say right now? I told you the mic is yours.
You know, we have been 26 years trying to find out what happened to Clea. I know that there's somebody out there with that information, and you know, uh, with COVID and people dying, surely your conscience can't hold this any longer. Um, I don't know if we're. I know that we're living in the last days, but I don't know what that day is because the Bible tells us we don't know. And so, whoever is out there that's holding that information, um, there's an anonymous tip line. If you go to help find Cleashindra Hall, there's an anonymous tip line that you can go on and look and see that tip line number, or you can call the Pine Bluff Police Department, or you can instant message me on Facebook. Instant message me on Help Find Cleashindra Hall or on my page, Laurell Williams Hall. Just some clue as to a direction that we can go. And we've been asking for 26 years, and I can't plead any stronger today than I have the first day that she was missing, that somebody comes forward with that information.
Yes, ma'am. And what is the tip line number?
I'm sorry.
What's the tip line number? I want to post it for you.
The tip line,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know it, but they give the Pine Bluff Police Department
Okay.
543-5100.
All right. I want to always make sure that we post something, so if anybody does know something, they can get in contact. And I don't.
Also I want to say too, like if somebody's watching and maybe they don't want to come on while we're doing the interview, they can instant message me and I'll be glad to answer any questions for them, or take any comments that they might have that they didn't want to come on live and do.
Yep. I just saw your eyes, and I had to catch myself for a second because I know this is man. I know it's a lot for you. I posted that information on Clea so that people can call the police station if they have any information. Oh, Lord.
And like I said, they can go to Help Find Cleashindra Hall Facebook page and get that tip line number, and they can leave an anonymous tip. They don't even have to leave their name.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Or use *69 or whatever it is.
I'm trying to type and listen and type at the same time. I'm not good at it. Let's pay for the number. I want to make sure that we get as much information out there as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Again, I appreciate the opportunity because you're taking time out of your schedule in addition to allowing me to come into your studio. And so I appreciate that because people don't have to be nice. And so I appreciate that. God bless you.
God bless you, honey. My job is just to, and it's not even my job. It's just it's getting to be some kind of weird calling to where these are the cases and these are the situations that, and I'll be honest with you, for the past year and a half, this has been weighing on me so strongly. A couple of months ago, we had a friend that was missing. And I went on, it's the Arkansas State, I'm not going to say the name of it right, but it's the Arkansas webpage for missing and exploited children. Mm-hmm. And what I saw blew me away. And a lot of people do not know this, but right here in Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Star City, Dumas, Arkansas, Hamburg, all small towns, there are a lot of Black and brown children missing. And adults. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about, now your case is one of the older ones. I'm talking about recent cases. I think I counted 20 something missing kids from Little Rock, and I say what? Little Rock, Searcy, Saline County, just right here in Central Arkansas in 2019. And I bet a lot of folks don't know that. And one,
They don't. They don't.
yeah, because you don't see it on the news. And I think that's what really blew me away about it was all of these kids are missing. It was people missing off Baseline Road, right here in Little Rock. There's people missing right out of the neighborhood, right off 12th Street, that hadn't been seen over 2 years. And you've never seen these faces on the news. And so that's one of those things I was talking to my son about a couple of nights ago. People don't know. You know, it's not on the news. It's not talked about. You don't get the Amber Alerts, you know, that everybody else gets. You understand that. We don't get those Amber Alerts. We don't get those missing children alerts. We don't get as much attention as everybody else gets when somebody comes up missing. And I was blown away at how many kids are missing right here from Central Arkansas in the past year. And I've never heard these babies' names mentioned on the news. I've never seen a picture of them. And other than being on that website, I've never seen them anywhere else. So one of the things I'll be working on in 2021 is every single show is putting those pictures out there and posting them. And if a parent wants to come on the show and talk about it, I'm more than willing to do it because something has to be done. It's mind-boggling that we have this many missing kids and nobody's saying anything. So I don't understand.
You know, the Amber Alert. We had. I want to say 2010 or somewhere in there. There were two little boys that walked off from their grandmother. One was 10,
Mm-hmm.
one was 12, and the police didn't want to issue an Amber Alert because they said that people would get numb to the Amber Alert. And so they didn't issue it, and those two little boys ended up falling into a pond and drowning.
I remember that story.
Yeah, and
I
so,
don't
but
believe that
they were
story.
saying people don't want to get but I get Amber Alerts or I get Silver Alerts on my phone all the time when there's a
Mhm.
senior citizen missing. We don't get a lot of Amber Alerts, and then a lot of the kids they were saying are runaways, and they don't really runaways aren't a priority.
Yeah. And everybody is not.
Runaways aren't a priority, and then 18-year-olds and above are not a priority. And
But
it's a shame because they're still somebody's baby.
exactly. I remember the story about the two little boys, and I remember thinking, I don't believe that story at all. That I never believed that. That was to me, I thought that was lazy. Now I'll say this, and you can't. That was lazy police work. I don't believe at all that's what happened with those babies. That just didn't make sense to me. Especially if you looked at the backstory and them saying, well, they played in that area all the time. How do you just, that didn't make sense to me. So that's one of the ones that I still don't believe that it happened the way that it was reported. I think it was way more to that. And I think a lot of times the easy way to get out of being scared is to declare everybody a runaway. All these babies are not running away. All these grown folks are not running away. Something is going on. Something is happening and it's happening right under our noses and people know what's going on. Trust and believe there's nothing happens without anybody knowing anything. There's just some people who haven't
And
talked that.
and that's what's strange about our case because I mean, 26 years and we don't have one clue, no direction, that we can go. And then the fact that she didn't have any money, no clothes, no driver's license. I mean, nothing when she got up off the couch and I dropped her off. I mean, nothing.
Mhm.
And so, where these people in one I can remember when one guy called because I'm like trying to get some search, let's get some search dogs because of course I've been watching television, and he said,
Mhm.
well, those dogs are only for catching prisoners and they'll chew somebody up. And I'm like, well, what about the handlers? They don't control them. And then so he
Mhm.
told me, oh, she probably just went off with a friend because when my son was in a senior in high school, he and his friends withdrew some money out of the bank and they went to Florida for the weekend. I'm like, but I'm telling you, she didn't have any money, no purse, no ID, nothing. And so it was. gosh, it was like really hard for us because she was an African American girl in
Mm-hmm.
a town that, um, although I think our population is majority African American, we weren't getting the same um, concern that people in other areas were getting.
Exactly. And to me,
And
that's a
so,
major problem, because I'm pretty sure you all, as soon as you realized she was missing, you reported it. I think that a lot of things need to change as far as, I understand that we still say, well, if you're 18, you're grown, but people have patterns. And your child's personality, you know what they do and what most of them don't do. We know our kids pretty well. And if I give you a description and I say, well, she didn't have money, she didn't have a purse, she didn't have this or whatever, how likely is it that she just got up and walked away? And I hate to hit the part that you have to wait a certain amount of hours before you can report somebody is missing. I wish that was actually short, because I think that
it
when you
has
have to
been shortened. It's
wait,
been
it's short.
shortened. Yeah, it's been shortened, but I think at the time that Clea was missing, they made us wait the 24 hours. But it has been shortened with the inception of Jennifer's Law.
Okay.
And so they don't have to wait, but I think they're still making people wait because they're waiting to see if they're just going to stroll back in the house or something. So they're still making people wait.
And see,
So
to me, that part is just, man, we've had a situation where ours was not anywhere near severe, where a child was missing for maybe about 4 or 5 hours, and we didn't know where he was. And of course, he did
that's
come.
traumatic. But that's traumatic. That takes years off your life. I don't care if it's 30 minutes.
Yeah. Oh.
My granddaughter that I was talking about, I had to hit her in Walmart because she has a habit of wanting to walk over to another section,
Hmm.
when I'm turning around looking for her. And so I'm like, look, we already got one person missing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play there with you.
I understand. And that's one of those things. I imagine that you've had to have that conversation with the grandkids, because something as quick as a few seconds and you don't see them immediately can cause you to panic. They
Hmm.
have hidden from me in my house and I panicked. So, yeah, we were just playing the game. So imagine,
Right.
you're out in public and you look around and they're not standing there anymore. That would cause anybody to panic. So, yeah. But
But we had that conversation with our children growing up because during uh, their younger days, those kids were killed in Atlanta. We
mhm,
had a whole bunch of children uh, that came up
yeah,
killed, and so because of that, we had that conversation with them, and then we were a little overprotective or strict, as our friends called it,
mhm,
because we didn't want something to happen. But even with us being strict, um, something happened. And when I see little kids walking alone uh, down the street, look like they're 4 or 5, and I'm wondering where the mom is. And it's really hard for me not to pull over
mhm,
and say, where's your mother?
mhm,
Because the times that we live in now are even more or worse than they were even back in 1994. And so, uh, and people don't realize that.
yes, ma'am. So, but you are right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate your time this evening, coming on
Thank
and
you.
discussing. You're welcome anytime. Um,
Okay, thank you.
Anything that comes up in the future, be sure to give me a call. You're welcome to come
Okay,
back anytime. If
okay,
we, I'm saying we as in the watchers and everybody else, if we hear something, we'll let you know. But thank you so
okay.
much.
Thank you. Thank you
Uh,
so much.
yeah, during this holiday season, hopefully someday we'll find out what happened, and you'll have some closure. But just until then, we're praying for you. We're praying for your family. Thank you all for watching tonight. If you have any information, I posted in the comments, and it'll show up on the Facebook page, and it'll also show up on the YouTube channel. Please, please, please get in contact with the Pine Bluff Police Department, and that number is 870-543-5100. You can also check on Help Find Cleashindra Hall Facebook page for the tip line number. You can do those tips anonymously if you want to, or you can either just message Ms. Hall, and she'll be happy to take information. But if you've seen anything or you've heard anything, please, please, ma'am, sir, boy, or girl, let somebody know, because we really like to bring Clea home. So it's almost 8 o'clock, and y'all know I eat dinner late on Tuesday night. So I'm gonna let you go, Ms. Hall. I appreciate you again. God bless you.
Yes, God bless you too.
Happy holidays to you and your family.
You too.
All right. All righty, y'all. We're going to say good night because I got to go eat dinner. I'm hungry. My stomach is growling. I'm getting a headache. So please make sure that you like the Facebook page, and make sure that you go over and visit the Find Cleashindra Hall Facebook page also, so you can get any updates or add any information that that you may come across. So keep the halls in your prayers. Keep all the families of missing children and adults in your prayers. Like we said earlier, we know that there's a lot of Black and brown people that are missing, and we don't get the publicity that we ought to get. So make sure that if it's a chance for you to talk about it, to share some information, to help a family out, please make sure that you do so. Again, thank you all for watching tonight. This is the Lady Sound for Wonder Lowe. I'm your host. I will see you again here next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Thank y'all, and good night.